Welcome back to another edition of the Dirty Dozen podcast. The end of week 2 is in the books. It is nighttime, September 21st, 2021. I got my Ravens. Well, this is an Orioles hat, different bird, but I got my O's hat on because the Ravens copped the dub against some Chiefs. It's my third different baseball hat. And I got with me manager of the Dumbos, the big Dumbos, for show Dumbos.
For sure, baby.
My boy Chris Scanoberry, welcome to the pod, baby. So great to have you back on.
Thanks for having me, brother. I'm excited. I'm not used to going this early, but we ready for action.
Listen, I think we have a decent amount to talk about, even though it's only week 2. I think week 2 is the point where we realize, okay, we can see trends of players, we can see trends of NFL teams, and most importantly, we can see trends of fantasy teams, and that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to bring up, though, is do you like this mood that we're in right now?
This mood?
Yeah, do you like the mood, the vibe that we got going on right now?
You know, I could get behind it, but I wouldn't mind a change.
A change of mood? I'm thinking a change of mood.
I wouldn't mind it.
What would you like? You know what I wish? Where are you right now? So my man's on the road right now, and he's still potting. That's how dedicated he is. You know the vibes.
We got to tap in. We in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Albuquerque, New Mexico. You know what I would love to be in Albuquerque, New Mexico with you right now? Just maybe a bottle of scotch or whiskey.
Of course.
A little neat action, and we could just be chilling by the fire talking about this pod. So what do you say?
Why don't we?
Why don't we? Why don't we?
Yeah.
We are by the fire, and we're gonna stoke the flames on this pod. So let's get to it. So first things first. There was a trade today that happened.
There was.
And we need to talk about it because that's important. So the trade was Josh sends Mike Evans, James Conner, and Chase Edmonds to Keenan in exchange for Allen Robinson and Javonte Williams. Your initial thoughts on the trade when it happened, and your thoughts now that you've thought about it?
I would say my initial thoughts was it was a pretty even trade. Like when I first saw it, I thought that they were trading pretty similar talent. Like I think Allen Robinson I remember talking shit about Allen Robinson a couple of years ago, but then realizing that he was like the most like quarterback impervious starting wide receiver, that he can do it with any quarterback. But he got off to a slow start at the start of the season, but I think that it can go up depending on what Justin Fields does. I think that the running back that he gave up to in Javonte Williams is kind of running back by committee, but I guess Josh doesn't really have a necessity for him at the current moment. And I think as I think about it now, and I may be biased, but I had Mike Evans last year, and he was just kind of on and off, like the most on and off. And it's crazy because in years past, he was the Bucs guy, but he seems to be pretty boom or bust now. And like the booms are just like when he gets the 1-yard touchdown passes. And Chase Edmonds, I mean, he gets catches and stuff, but like they don't really utilize running backs like that in Arizona. So not that I think that like Keenan lost horribly, but I think Josh won just based on potential. Like I think Javonte Williams may eventually overtake that backfield. And I think Allen Robinson's like solid too, and will be more solid.
Yeah, I liked the trade for both teams because both teams had a little bit of a hole, and both teams filled that hole. I think Keenan's problem was he didn't have an RB2, and he needed one. So he sacrificed one of his wide receivers, and he has Sutton, and he has DeAndre Hopkins, and he has DJ Moore. So he was able to afford to get rid of those wide receivers. And on the other side, Josh's flex, he might not have been crazy comfortable with Mike Evans because I think, like, we look at Tom Brady, and Brady loves a slot guy. I mean, we spoke about it before we started the pod. For 10 years, who was Brady's favorite guy? It was Julian Edelman and Welker, and it was the slot guys. So Godwin's the same thing. So Godwin checks off. Then he's got, who was Brady's favorite guy in New England? Oh, that was Gronk. Okay, what does he have now? Oh, wait, he still has Gronk. So there's Gronk. And now there's AB and Mike Evans fighting for that third pass. And I think every other week, one's going to go off and one's going to bust, and one's going to go off and one's going to bust.
For sure.
So I think Josh recognizes that and says, maybe I got to move off because that's my only weak spot. And
Mm-hmm.
the cool thing is he had Darrell Henderson as an RB2 that he can put in there. So they filled
Yeah.
each other. They filled each other's voids. I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
I'll hold on what
They
I was gonna say, but they filled
filled
each
each other's
other's
souls
voids.
a little bit.
No, but
It's like, damn, y'all was doing all that.
I do think Josh got the bit better at the end of the deal. I think
Mm.
he was able to get rid of an RBCC and a shaky wide receiver in exchange for the one piece that he needed, a
Yeah.
bona fide flex. And now Josh has three wide receiver ones in an offense, in
Mm-hmm.
their respective offenses. So he probably has a top 2 or 3 receiver core. On the other side, Keenan upgraded RB2. And now he's got, a boomer bust flex, but he still has 4 really good wide receivers. So
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. This one's the first big trade that'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
I guess he also has James Conner too, but the hope is that Edmonds can find the end zone a bit. That's going to be his RB2.
Yeah, or at least, I mean, knock on wood, if one of them are to go down, then there's your RB1. He
Yeah.
becomes the only running back.
Well, I want to ask you, do you think, based on what Keenan's receivers were, do you think he could have maybe got more for like Allen Robinson and someone?
I wonder if he could have done the same deal for DJ Moore.
Huh. Okay.
My guess is
That's-
Josh probably would have said no,
Yeah.
but I wonder if he could have done the same deal for DJ Moore.
Look at how DJ Moore is playing. I don't think that's a bad deal.
It's still not, but I think
Yeah.
I would still rather Allen Robinson
For
over
sure.
DJ Moore. But I wonder if he could have gotten the same deal for you. Maybe he did. We'd have to ask them. I don't know. But I
Yeah,
think
for
that's
sure.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
For sure.
Anyway, so I think we should get right back. I think we should get right into the power rankings. It's going to be the meat of the conversation today.
Yes,
So
sir.
week 2 went by. There are 2 teams remaining undefeated, and they have the same last name. They're not the same person. It's not managed by the same team. They look the same, but it's Vinko and Ante at 2-0. On the other side, there are, I think, 2 teams that are 0-2 now. Right? There are 2, and it's Keenan and Zach. So 2 guys off to a hot start, 2 guys with some work to do.
For sure.
So our power rankings were very, very similar,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll put them on the Excel. But number 1 in the power rankings this week, no change from last week. It is still Vinko, manager of Hooded Bandit. So I had Vinko 2. You had Vinko 1. We put Vinko at 1. Why does Vinko deserve to keep the top spot?
To me, I guess kind of part of the way that I view power rankings is that like he didn't do anything to lose it. Like he was a top spot last week, and just based on the outlook of his team, I think he still has like one of the better teams in the league. Obviously, he might want to bust a move or two for RB2, especially if 2 is out. Miles Gaskin is probably going to blow a little bit. AJ Brown and what's his name? AJ Brown and Ryan Tannehill have kind of been like not
Weird.
what you expected from them. It's like weird, and like I don't know what's going on with Ryan Tannehill. It took him a week and a half to finally figure out that he has Julio on his team. So thank goodness for that. But AJ Brown's been like kind of just shaky. But the beautiful part of that is AJ Brown has been shaky. Miles Gaskin was kind of dookie last week, and he still scored 110. And like, yes, he played against like Zach, who only scored 90. But he still scored 110. And if his guys perform better than they did, I'm expecting him to score more than that. And that could be just on the fact that he has McCaffrey and Josh Allen. But like I said, I don't think he did anything this week to lose the top spot.
Okay, I agree. So what we'll do, I agree. And I agree with everything you just said. So let's do this. So I wonder if this will record, but we'll see. So this is so we'll do this. We'll show everybody's
I like that.
team.
Okay, I was doing the same thing. Cool.
We'll show everybody's team. So this is Vinko's team. Hopefully this shows up in the video. If not, then whatever. Vinko's projected 127.6 this week. He's got Christian McCaffrey projected 25.8.
You know, that's a big part of it.
That's nutty. Josh Allen actually hasn't been as good as he should be. So, and Vinko's still 2-0. Did Vinko get lucky that he played a team that only scored 90? Maybe, but I mean, you win your matchups. That's it. All you got to do is score more than the guy that you're playing, and you win. That's how
On,
fantasy goes. Some days you
on top
score.
of that, the week wasn't the best for a lot of teams. There were a lot of teams that kind of hovered around the 100 range, unless you had a player that like went dummy. Besides the Busters, but we'll get to that.
I don't know. I think Vinko will make a move, but I think his tight end situation, I think, could be a little bit. Actually, I mean, top 10 tight end. So I don't know. I have the same questions that I did have of Vinko's team on draft night, but it's worked so far. So Vinko's 2-0. This is his team. And he's projected 127.6. I'd feel good about being 2-0, projected 127.6, and he plays Keenan, who's 0-2. So
yeah. Shout out my guy Diesel.
So that's good for him. Number 2 in the power. Oh, never mind. Number 2 in the power rankings is his brother, Ante.
Yes,
Ante is at number 2, manager of Afghan military. Still confused about that team name, but manager of Ante. Well, Ante.
Manager of Ante. Yeah.
Manager of Ante. So why is he? I mean, he's the other 2-0 team, so I guess that's why he's number 2. But tell me what's goody about this team. And I have to say, I didn't really like this team that much coming into draft night. I did like the wide receivers. Again, I think he needs a quarterback, but other than that, I do like this team a lot. And
I'll tell you what,
something.
I'm looking at this squad, and I've looked at Ante's squads in the past, and there's a few managers in this league that, like, as I think about it, I'm like, I would never draft the way that they drafted. And Ante is typically one of them. But this squad this year, man, I mean, like, if his guys stay healthy, he's got some guys. Like, Najee Harris is going to be the bell cow, or at least until they figure out that Ben Roethlisberger blows, and then they're going to run him some more. Tyreek is going to do what he does. Tyreek didn't have a Tyreekian week last week, and Ante still dropped 130 points or so.
125.
Cooper Kupp. Let me tell you, Matt Stafford loves him some Cooper Kupp, and Matt Stafford is a slinger. I don't mind Joe Burrow. He's got receivers, and their defense sucks, so they're going to be down a lot of games. Shout out Mike Williams. I obviously took Keenan Allen, but I think Mike Williams
him so bad.
Like, Mike Williams is about to be like some people's wide receiver 2s in the certain situation how Herbert's throwing the ball.
Slept on him so bad.
I look at his team and I think back and I could look at his team and close my eyes and think I could see 2-0 for sure.
It's unreal.
And like Miles Sanders is fine, but is going to get better. But I just think he has some receivers. He has like some heavy duty receiving talent that's just going to be balanced. I think he's like a low end, very balanced team that he can expect 115 and up going forward.
I mean, look at this. Look at this. That's very interesting. So you go look at I don't know. That's annoying. You look at this right here. The PRK is right here. This is ranking, position ranking. Quarterback 22, and then running back 22 and 23. Not that good. Najee Harris had a good game last week. He had 19.1. But then look at this. Wide receiver 7, wide receiver 1, tight end 8, wide receiver 5.
But a flex. That's flex.
Defense 9. He has 3 of the top 7 wide receivers right now.
Yes, he does.
And I know it's only 2 weeks, but man, like I've been saying it. I'll say it every single week. He took Tyreek Hill before me. I'm not mad about that. I got Devontae. I think that's amazing. Cooper Kupp was on my board. I've taken him in every draft. I did a mock draft thing, and I have Cooper Kupp, and he went off in it. He took him right before me, and I'm pissed, and I'll be pissed about it forever because I wanted him, and there was nothing I could have done about it. Mike Williams, though, I have to see who I took in the draft. I think I took Marquise Brown, and then he took Mike Williams. And Marquise Brown has been good, but like Mike Williams has been beast mode.
Yeah. I was going to grab him again if I didn't already have Keenan Allen.
And Mike Williams is that guy where every year you think he's going to be good, and everybody drafts him high, like pretty high on the ADP, and it's just
Yeah.
like he'll have 3 games the entire season where he drops 25, and then the rest is like 7, 8 points. Like he's waiver
Hmm.
wire material, but this year it looks kind of different, which is cool. Finally,
Yeah.
like Mike Williams,
Yeah.
finally, it's about
I
time.
think the key to it is the Chargers defense still kind of sucks. And I don't know if him and Herbert are boys, but he's in a contract year and Herbert's trying to sling him that cheese.
So, uh, he's at 2, and he's in second place. So,
Right.
I think if he gets a quarterback, I think this will be a really good team. Actually, you know what's funny? Ante's already has the same amount of wins that he did all of last season.
It only take 48 pancakes till you recognize, all right,
Yeah,
we got busted moves.
straight up. Ante at 2. Number 3 on the power rankings this week. Yours truly, Marco, manager of the Busters. Now, had I had beaten Vinko last week, I'd probably be at number 1 on the power rankings. And I would have put myself at 1, and I think Chris would have put myself at 1. So tell me, I have a couple of things to say about the Busters, but tell me what you like about the Busters.
Let me tell you about these bounce back busters.
Show squad.
I had to try to figure out what my guy Vinko was seeing when he texted in the group chat that you have the worst squad. Maybe that was just shit talking because y'all was about to play each other.
Yeah.
But I don't see any holes on the Busters at all. Like I don't see any holes. I'm not a fan of David Montgomery, but I can't deny what he's done in the past 2 weeks. Nick Chubb is going to do what Nick Chubb does. Devontae Adams is a PPR monster. Chris Godwin.
And he hasn't even had a Devontae Adams week yet.
I know. Started to come alive last week, and you were plenty up, so it didn't even matter.
He already won before he played last night.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Noah Fant, I'm not. What do you say? If you don't get Kelsey or Waller or Kittle, it doesn't really matter that much. But Noah Fant is solid this year. Brandon Cooks, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't flame Brandon Cooks, but I'm staring as far clear from the Texans as possible. But Brandon Cooks is a pickup. If anyone you want on that team is Cooks. And I just think if I look at all of the teams, I would put you as top 2 in terms of just the most balanced team. You're solid at every position. I don't really see any position where you're not solid at. I don't know. It's just because it's you and your snake bin. You might get hit up with some matchups with some people, but
we'll see.
I see playoffs in this team, knock on wood, barring any injuries.
Yeah, we'll see. So there's a couple of cool things that I've been doing this week, this year for fantasy. I explained one of them last week is the projection spread thing. So the achievement spread.
Yeah.
And one more time, we want to see how good or bad are you based on ESPN's projections.
Yeah.
I lead the league. So I lead the league in scoring right now by about 30 points. I also lead the league in points allowed. But that's just I always am a top 5 on that anyway. But whatever. Yeah. I lead the league in points allowed. I lead the league in points by about 30. My achievement spread is 42, which means that my team has scored 42 more points than ESPN had projected. The next highest total is, I think, Vinko, and that's at plus 19. So I'm 20 points ahead of people on the achievement spread. My team right here, this is my team's average, the lineup that I set, averaging 143.15. That's a lot.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it now.
And again,
with some bad matchups this week are still projected on
124.2. And again, this is only 2 weeks, so it's a small sample size. But 140, I scored 145.5 last week, 144.5 this week. So consistency, good consistency. I also have 2 guys on my bench. Mike Davis, he's giving you RB2 numbers. And then I have Marquise Brown on my bench, and I have a top 10 wide receiver on my bench, wide receiver 8. Look, I have a lot of top 10. I have top 5 quarterback, top 5 running back, top 5 tight end, top 10 kicker, top 10 wide receiver, and then just everybody. Davante Adams is wide receiver 27. Okay. That's how you know that the Busters are starting to, they're going to pick up some steam.
Yeah.
And then one last thing, I'm the only team in the league that in both week 1 and 2, I had a passing leader, rushing leader, and a receiving leader on
Mm.
the PowerPoint. So
Hmm.
Brady's top 5 in passing, Nick Chubb is top 5 in rushing,
Yeah.
and Brandon Cooks is top 5 in receiving. And I
This is
still
one of
and I
them.
and I still have Godwin and Devontae Adams.
This is one of them Buster teams. You gotta wipe your eyes out and see, like, wait, this the Busters, right? This how the Busters get down. But I'm saying, like, your team puts up numbers, and I don't really see any week that they would. I don't know if you can expect 145.
I definitely don't, but I'm looking at projections and I could see close to that every week depending on matchups and stuff like that. So there's my support for my team.
Talk your shit,
If
King.
if there's any other like I just listed facts there. Like none of that was my opinion. That was literally just all facts.
Talk your
So
shit.
facts no printer,
Busters ain't
baby.
here often.
Yeah, I mean, Bus is gonna talk that shit. Remember
Right.
but last year was funny. Last year, my team scored like 173, and I was like 4-5 or like 3-4 or
Yeah.
something. And I was like 4 in the power rankings, and I was 4th in the league in scoring. And I was like, the Busters
Yeah.
are back. I think I was last in the league in scoring after I said that. And I lost like all but 1 or 2 of my matchups. So not gonna, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. It's only 2 weeks. We'll see where we're at.
You solid though. You solid.
We can so Marco at number 3. Number 4 in the power rankings. I think I don't even know, maybe down 2 spots or 1 spot from last week is Josh. Josh is number 4 at the rankings. And I think today he solidified himself there with the trade that he made. So Josh is at number 4. So what's goody with you Winston, you lose some.
I feel like similarly, like I said about Vinko, Josh's team didn't do anything to leave the top 5. One, I mean, you look at his receiving core and you feel a-okay at where he's at in terms of just receivers, especially with what's coming in with Allen Robinson. It's funny because I looked at his receiving core and I was like, oh, I mean, the only hole was Mike Evans. And I was like, oh, shoot, that's not even who's in there anymore. Amari, if he didn't get hurt, I mean, that guy is a PPR machine. He's going to get in the end zone, too. Diggs is going to do what he does. I mean, he got, 127 catches last year, and they don't really have too much outside of him. Mark Andrews, I mean, he kind of fell off in terms of tight ends, but he's in the upper echelon if you don't get Kelsey and Waller or Kittle.
I hope to see more from Mark Andrews this year.
Yeah.
Or this rest of the season. He's way better than what he's been outputting fantasy wise. Like he's such a good tight end, and it's just sucks that he just is not getting the looks he should get.
Yeah, 100%. Eckler has been solid. I didn't expect him to be as solid because I thought the Chargers were just going to throw it a ton, but Eckler's been solid. And I mean, like, if you got the receivers he has and a solid running back, that's a scary squad. I'm concerned, and I know he might not be as concerned as I am, but I'm concerned with Jameis Winston. I just watched some of the plays of the Panthers game, and I'm like, that's the Jameis I know and love, except he don't got the receivers he has had in Tampa. And he's going against my squad, which I expect them to catch some picks against him this week. But we'll talk about that.
Oh, he's playing in Foxborough.
He's playing in Foxborough. So I'm concerned about Jameis, but that's my only concern.
So am I. I've been concerned about it too. And like I said a couple of weeks, my only concern is that he doesn't have anybody to throw to until week 8. Like Jameis thrived when he was in Tampa on receivers that could just go and get the ball, like Mike Evans. That's why Mike Evans was so good. And that's why Godwin ended up being wide receiver 2. 2 years ago. His last year in a TV uniform, Winston. Godwin was wide receiver 2.
Yeah.
He doesn't have
Yeah.
anybody remotely close to that. So it's going to be tough. But once Michael Thomas comes back, and if he's still under center, like, oof,
So is he slant
watch
boy still, you
out.
think? Because I don't think James throws slants that often.
Oh, I don't know. I don't even know what Michael Thomas is going on. Like, I hate him.
Me too. Me too.
I
Me too,
hate
for
him.
sure.
Josh at number 4. Number 5 to round out the top 5. Just this guy is just going to be all over the power. I think this guy's going to be all over the power rankings this year. He went from 2 to 10, now back to 5. Chris Cataldo is number 5 in our power rankings.
Yes, sir.
Border Czar. Again, that's another name I'm kind of confused with.
Okay, I was like, I hope he's going to explain that to me.
We'll let it rock.
Right.
I like the picture that he's got.
Yeah, for sure. Let him do as he does.
We'll show the picture. What you got on this kid? See, this is another team where like I don't see a hole. This is another team that I do not see a hole.
Okay. So I think I do, but I'll get into it.
Go for it. Oh, look at the picture right here.
So in the same way that I did with Big Daddy Tyreek last year, I did with Derrick Henry. So I personally like Derrick Henry a ton as a running back, but I think in terms of fantasy, he's just solid. Like he's not great. Like I feel like he gives you the games where he gives you 200 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. And in the same way that I said that about Tyreek last year, when I needed to make the playoffs, he dropped a 60 piece on the head top with DJ. Cataldo dropped a 50 piece on the head top with Derrick Henry this week. So it's like, all right, like for me, right? DK solid. I mean, it seems like Russ is kind of spreading around. It honestly, and this is in my favor, of course, it seems like they're trying to run the ball a lot more this year. Chris Carson's getting a lot more touches than I thought. He doesn't necessarily do a ton with it all the time, but like he's getting a lot more touches than I thought. Jeff, I like a lot as a receiver. I just think that offense is so predicated on the run, and it seems like Thielen is still Cousins' guy. But Jeff is going to do what he does. Gronk was a steal. I'm going to just go ahead and say it.
Oh, yeah. Steal the draft so far, 100%.
Gronk was a steal because, like, he fell off the board, and that guy is getting in the end zone. I'm to be honest with you, I hate Chase Claypool because I hate Ben Roethlisberger.
So do I.
But he's got Kareem Hunt or whoever else he wants to slot in there. Rodgers is going to do what he does. I mean, I think he played a good matchup the Lions yesterday, but he's going to just like not. He's not going to be week 1 Rodgers. He's going to do what he does. In terms of his RB2, I mean, Leonard Fournette's solid. Kareem Hunt is also solid. Potentially, if he, I don't know who you would trade though. No, I think he's solid. I think he's got a very solid team. He's got a very balanced team.
I think like I look at his top 5. So yeah, I do see holes. Actually, you're right. I don't like his. I think his flex is he probably could have taken a couple of better players other than Claypool when he had that thing, when he had that pick. But other than that, he has Tyson Williams. That'll be a valuable flex for him. So he has Tyson Williams, Kareem Hunt, and Claypool that he can use as flex. So he has 3 flex guys.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at his top 5, and I think Rodgers, Henry, Metcalf, Jeff, and Gronk. That's just like an unreal, like Fab 5. And I really like it
to have those guys, huh?
I think ESPN, as far like you had mentioned, I think ESPN might have gotten Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson wrong. I think Thielen and Jeff should have been maybe switched in the ADP. So Thielen should have gone 4th. I mean, Jeff should have gone 4th. Thielen should have gone 2nd round. But we'll see what happens. Justin Jefferson didn't do well until like week 9 of last year, and he finished at 1,400 yards receiving.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But DK Metcalf and Justin Jefferson, when I saw that on draft night, I was like, damn, that is the best 1-2 combo in our league. Like,
and they're young too.
Diggs and Cooper was good from Josh, but I was like, and like I thought me with Devontae and Godwin, you with Julio and Keenan Allen, but I was like, DK and Jeff is lit. Like that's a sick double. That's a sick combo.
When they both get settled in, I expect big numbers from them.
This team, they scored 70 the week before, and then they scored 143. I look at this team, and if everybody fires off on all cylinders in 1 week, this team has the potential to put up 200. Like, You could get 40 from Metcalf. You can get 30 from Rodgers. You can get 45 from Henry. You can get 25 from J Jeff, another 25 from Gronk. Like Claypool's had a 30-point game. Like you can literally hit like a 175, 180 with this team on just a crazy week. And I'm hoping for that
Okay,
for Cataldo.
I can hear it crazy. We can see that.
So Cataldo at 5. Let's go, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Number 6 is the other Chris, a much taller Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Fischel. Chris Canterbury, the guy that's on this pod.
Show demo, baby. Shout out Cam Newton. One finger, one thumb.
I'll talk about. You want me to talk about your team first? Fischel demo.
Yeah.
Talk about your team. Fischel. And then you can talk about it. What we like and what we don't like. Again, so like all 6 of these teams, like okay, like I think Ante needs a better quarterback. I think Vinko's receivers could be a little bit better, but I think my team, Josh's team, Chris's team, and your team, I think those 4 teams are the most well-balanced teams in the league. I don't like Justin Herbert hasn't put up Herbie numbers yet, and he's still been okay. Like once this kid starts putting up his numbers, and once he starts putting up his number, like you still have the best stack in the league. Right now I have the best stack in the league, but I think over the course of the season, I think you'll have the best stack between Herbert and Keenan Allen. I mean, Dalvin's just gonna Dalvin.
Right.
He's gonna finish top 3 if he stays healthy. Carson's actually gonna. I think Carson would be really good. And I told you before the pod, and I'll say it again. I'm gonna get Julio off of you by the end of the season. Julio will be a buster. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Like the Titans should literally just like throw him the ball 40 times a game.
Bro, he had 100 yards off of 4 catches. Give him the chicken.
Give him the chicken, dude. Let Henry run the rock for 2 downs.
Mm-hmm.
And then throw it to Julio. Like that's all you need to do. Like you'll win every game. I mean, provided your defense sucks, but like, come on.
For sure.
Odell hasn't really played. Actually, he hasn't played.
Yeah.
Jonnu, he's your guy. So Patriots defense, number 2 defense in the league. Every single year, they're top 5. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then your bench. I think another one of the steals of the draft. So Gronk was steal number 1 of the draft. Steal number 2 of the draft right now is Sterling Shepard. Sterling Shepard was taken in like the 14th round, and he was on my board. I really, really wanted him. I took him in a lot of my mock drafts, and he's a top 10 wide receiver right now. And I don't think he'll stay top 10 the whole season, but I think he's going to be the best wide receiver 3. Like if results hold, he'll be the best wide receiver 3, like top 2 or 3. Like I think he'll finish a top 20 wide receiver, like 25 max. It's just, I don't know. Like he's the best receiver on that team. Forget Kenny Golladay. Like
Golladay seems kind of ass, to be honest with you.
So
not ass, but like.
No, I didn't want any Giants players. Like Saquon wasn't on my board. Saquon would have had to fall to 12 for me to take him. Right. Any other draft spot, I would not have taken Saquon. I never wanted Kenny Golladay. Sterling Shepard, I wanted, and you see why. And then you got a bunch of boys on the bench. You got Mac, you got Aguilar, Hunter Henry. So it's funny. I actually drafted Hunter Henry. And left Gronk on the board, and I dropped Hunter Henry after the draft, and there goes Gronk going off. So
yeah, for sure.
I would have traded Fant, like it would have been, and I would have had Gronk, or maybe would have traded Godwin and Fant, something like that. Ugh.
Oh my gosh.
And you still got Gallup on IR. This team, Melvin Gordon, like this team's got so many bodies, man.
Yeah. This is probably the deepest demo squad that I've ever had. Aguilar, to be honest with you, I just loaded up my bench with a bunch of Pats just because I like them, but I don't really expect any of them to play at any point. like if I got to start Mac, I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? Or if I got to start like Aguilar is like at the bottom of the pecking order outside of Keenan Allen, Julio, Odell, Tyrell Williams, and Sterling Shepard. I think Herbert and Keenan Allen are going to click some more. I love what I saw from Julio. John is going to be fine. It's kind of a wash when you get to tight ends, as I mentioned a number of times. Honestly, I'll air this because by the time people hear it, it won't matter. I'm planning on busting a move for a kicker because I've been watching the Pats games. They get in the red zone a lot. They don't get in the end zone.
Nick Folk.
So Nick Folk will be a dumb unless you want him, and then somehow get more from him. Yeah. Nick Folk will be a dumbo by the morning.
I got Greg the leg. I'm chilling.
Yeah, they get in the red zone a ton, but they don't score. This is probably the most post-draft demo team that I've loved the most in terms of like, just it's everything that I wanted, in terms of my squad. Dalvin's going to do what he does. Got a great matchup this week. Herbert and Keenan are going to do what they do. Got a great matchup. I like my squad. It's just a matter of figuring out who's going to be in the flex at this point, but I like my squad a lot.
Isn't that such a good feeling looking at your team and be like, I love this team.
Yeah.
That's how I feel right now.
I'm
just like, I love my team right now. I love my team and I love your team.
Yeah. I also love that I'm in the middle of the power rankings. It was scary being at the top because I'm like, I'm not here often. I like being a gritty guy.
Yeah, me too. I'm hoping that the curse of me being at the top for the top three is so you round out the top six, and I think your team will be much higher later on, but they have still much to prove, which is crazy.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 7 in the power rankings this week is Grant. Grant is at number 7. So Grant had a rough week. He only put up 100, but he put up 145 last week. And I have to say, like, it's interesting. What Grant did in week 1 is what happens when his strategy works.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I'll go to week 1. I'll share the screen, and I'll show you guys what happened to Grant's team in week 1. So if you look at this, look at the score, 27, 14 from Naeem Hines. He got 26 from Lockett, 25 from Kelsey, 26.5 from Waller. And he scored 145. Like, his main guys, look at that. That's 75 right here. That's 100. That's 100. The 4 of them, that's 100.
The scariest part about that is Raheem Mostert had 2 points.
Yeah. Like
145 when his running back had 2 points.
Then this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, he got 100 points from his top 4 guys, and that's exactly what he wanted. And then he just needs 30 points from the rest of his team between his defense, his kickers, 2 running backs, and a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Unreal. This is what happens when it works. Now let's see what happens when it doesn't work. Well, Kelsey had his Kelsey game, and Lockett went off, but Waller didn't do too well, and Dak stunk.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing. His running backs are bad. His defense, he screwed up on the defense, but that happens.
Mm-hmm.
And then, your kicker, I think his kicker might have missed a field goal. So it is what it is. But this is what happens. Even Lockett, 131. Like, so looking at Lockett, 31.8, Travis Kelsey, 23.9. And then the rest of the team did absolutely nothing. But this is what happens when you drag out. Oops, I didn't want to do that. This is what happens when you bring out guys like Naeem Hines, Elijah Mitchell.
So the spooky part with Grant's team is I think you can book Kelsey and Waller for double digits each week. I still think, and I don't know if it's going to be this week because actually, no, that's not who they're playing. They're playing Minnesota. But I'm expecting Lockett to eventually come back down to earth.
Mm.
And if Lockett comes back down to earth, I think he's in trouble just because I think Robert Woods is like the 4th option on that offense if you consider Kupp, Higbee, Darrell Henderson, and then Robert Woods. Robert Woods is solid, but I think that his team kind of plateaus outside of Lockett, Kelsey, and Waller, and Dak. I think Dak's going to be better than he was. I don't really know what happened with
him. Dak is going to finish a top 7 quarterback, definitely. Stays healthy. Right. Yeah.
If I'm understanding correctly, is he streaming defenses?
Probably.
That's fine. I think Suckup's going to be fine. I think he's going to get in the end zone a lot more, so he kick a lot more extra points. But obviously his running back situation isn't where he wants it to be. But I think the most concerning part is eventually Lockett is going to come back down to earth. And I don't think Robert Woods has been what he's expecting him to be. But he put up numbers. He scored in the hundreds both weeks.
He's still projected 124.5 this week.
Right.
He's averaging 130. The team that he has out there right now is averaged 138 too. So, and look, I mean, look at the positions. Exactly what I'm talking about. He's got number 2 wide receiver, number 1 and number 4 tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously Dak had a bad game, but the rest of it is just question marks.
He's got some guys. There's some questions. He knows that there's questions at the running back position, but I want to see what Woods does, because Woods is going to have to start performing better if he continues to have those questions at running back.
Yeah. He's also got T. Higgins on the bench.
Yeah, he's got guys. He's solid at receiver.
For me, like, I know he's trying the strategy, and I knew he loved the tight end, and it's a PPR, and those two are PPR monsters. But me personally, and I said this last week, I just like, it's a lot of like unnecessary stress to put on myself to rely on 4 guys to make up 80% of my points. You know what I mean? Like, I want a full balanced lineup. I want, whatever the positions are, I want good guys there. I want a good wide receiver 2. I want a good running back 2. I want a decent flex, a boomer bust flex. Like, to rely on 4 guys to make up 100 points, it would stress me the hell out.
I'll tell you what, like, this is not a team that, looking back, I would have drafted at all, just because I don't view the tight end position as that extraordinarily necessary in fantasy. Like, I think I would just get better backs or receivers instead of like the Kelsey and Waller thing. But there's something about Grant and his teams. The brother puts up numbers every week, and I don't know how he does it. Like, I'm like looking at his squads, I don't know how he does it, but he puts up numbers. So I don't know that I would have wanted the guys myself, or I don't know if I would want to be like, honestly, kind of trying to figure out what to do at running back. I think he is now, but
what I'm curious to know, and we'll find out, is if and when he's going to bail on the strategy. Like, if and when he decides, all right, maybe I have to move Waller, because I don't think he'll move Kelsey. He decides, all right, maybe I'll have to move Waller for like a running back and a wide receiver, something like that. Like, I wonder what his breaking point is, if he already has one, and if it ever, like, that's the most interesting thing for me.
I see it.
Granted, 7. Now, breaking the power rankings, and it sucks to have to say this, because this guy is always one of my favorite guys to talk about on the pod, because he always brings us good teams, and this is as low as I can remember him ever being. DJ is number 8 on the power rankings. I don't think DJ has the 8th. Like, I don't know. It's tough. DJ shouldn't be 8th in the power rankings, but he's had a lot of injuries and a lot of people that just haven't really performed. And so he is where he is. And if you look down here, he's got Judy on IR. Michael Thomas isn't coming back. Deontay Johnson's questionable. Like, those are 3 really good guys that he might not have for a while, and that's gonna. He's still projected 124.5, but what do we got here?
So DJ on draft night, I didn't like his receivers very much, and I think I didn't like them for what I expected them to perform as, but they have a whole different issue in the fact that they can't stay healthy. If Deontay Johnson can't go, then he lost 3 like startable wide receivers. I guess not losing Michael Thomas, but like not having Michael Thomas. But losing Judy and Deontay Johnson hurts. I think, and he might have just been trolling or whatever, but I think he even put Antonio Gibson up for grabs and put out feelers for him. I think Antonio Gibson is a good back. I think he hasn't necessarily performed how DJ was looking for him to. I think Aaron Jones is going to do more. I don't think he's going to score 4 touchdowns necessarily, but I think he's going to do more of the kind of numbers that you expect from Aaron Jones. But like, his receiving core, it's the biggest weak point. Like, I think it's the biggest weak point. I think you hope to see Antonio Brown put up more numbers like the first week, but he can't. I mean, he had like 2 catches last week. You can't see that too often. be confident, and he doesn't really have too much by way of the bench. Shout out my guy Jacoby Myers, love my Pats, so I'm gonna shout him out. But he doesn't have too much to work with on the bench. It's his running backs are solid. He's got the best quarterback in fantasy. It's just scary to look at his receiving corps and feel ultra confident going forward. Because even if Deontay Johnson plays, he's played well, but I still think Ben sucks. DJ Chark's on the worst team in football. Kittle's going to be good. But yeah, it's big question marks at the wide receiver position for DJ.
Yeah, AB is the same situation as Evans. It's just questionable. Kittle's underperformed. So I'm hoping Kittle goes off this week because we haven't seen anything from him. We've seen everything from Deebo Samuel. Chark, Marvin Jones Jr. is the guy there. Deontay is the guy in Pittsburgh, but Pittsburgh, like Big Ben is like 39 and he looks like he's 50. He looks like he should be in like a flag football league.
I swear, brother hasn't seen a gym in 35 years.
Yeah, it's bad. Like, and I just I was looking at where Steelers wide receivers, and I just didn't want any part of that. And not because I know Big Ben like just throws the ball all the time, and I was just like, that dude looks like he just should have retired 7 years ago, and he's still playing.
And he's hurt.
And I'm just like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But I think his top three, I think Gibson will be better, and I think Aaron Jones and Kyler Murray will. I think Aaron Jones and Kyler Murray, if at the very least, will carry him to when Michael Thomas comes back and Jerry Jeudy comes back. And if he can be, say, week 8, if he can be 4-4 or say 3-4 going into week 8, he's got a shot. And then his team looks really scary because then you're looking at Kyler Murray, Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, Michael Thomas, Deontay Johnson, George Kittle, Jerry Jeudy. Like that's sick.
Yeah.
Obviously pending any trades, but it's not there yet. So
yeah, he's a very smart fantasy manager, so I expect him to kind of figure this out. But
I agree.
He's got some question marks.
I actually feel bad that he beat Grant and we still put Grant above him. I didn't realize that. But you had Grant way higher than I did, so we had to compensate for that.
Sure.
I had DJ at 7. You had DJ at 8, so we put him at 8. You had Grant at 5. I had Grant at 8, so we put Grant at 7. That's the reason for that.
Yeah.
DJ at 8. I'm definitely think he'll be not at 8.
Finishing necessarily. He just has some question marks at the receiver. Needs to.
Number 9 in the power rankings this week. I think he went up. I think he's going up by 1 every single week. Joe Nichols. He actually had he scored 132 this week. Like, he scored 132 points this week. He beat Josh by 30. It's a great win. But he got 20 points from his defense and 20 points from his kicker. Now, I know that's part of the lineup, but that's literally double what you expect defenses and kickers get. So if you take away, that double, then he's at 112. Maybe that's mean to say. Yeah, maybe that's just like, oh, that's just so unfair. But you know what I mean? Like, take away the 10 points from your defense, take away the 10 points from your kicker, give them each 10. What does your team look like now? Well, it scored 112.
Oh gosh. I love Joe. I always hate his teams. I don't know. Like, I always hate his teams. First off, what you're saying of what it will look like, expect that from the Bucks D, because they're playing the Rams this week. And Stafford going to drop a fat one on them, especially because their cornerbacks are hurt. I think Debo's fine. I think Calvin Ridley can be good. I just think he's in an awful team. And like, he's Kirby and all that good stuff, but like, he's on an awful team. I love Damian Harris as a running back, but like I wouldn't love that. I don't love Josh Jacobs either. Jonathan Taylor, I don't love, especially where you drafted him, but I guess he's fine. Mahomes is the only guy I can look on this team and be like, oh, if I had him, I'd be gravy.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, like, it's only week 2, and again, I love Joe. He's one of my best friends. Great guy, such a character. Yeah. He's my pal. But it's same thing every year. Look at his team. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? There's one guy on his team every year that I want, and then everybody else I just don't. And this year, it's last year it was Travis Kelce, Chiefs tight end, and this year it's Pat Mahomes, Chiefs quarterback. I don't. I like. I literally wouldn't trade for anybody on this team.
I was gonna say, put your thumb over Mahomes and tell me what one of those players you would trade for right now.
None of them. I wouldn't even. I don't even buy. Like, I think Debo is gonna be good, but I don't. He's wide receiver 3 right now, and Debo actually leads the league in receiving yards. I don't think he'll lead the league in receiving yards by the end of the season, and I'm not gonna sell my firstborn child for Debo because that's what Joe's gonna want.
You look at Joe's team right now, and
it looks like
a 14-man league.
It looks like a 14-man league, but he also has Josh Jacobs on the bench, so that's why it looks a little worse than it does. But again, like Josh Jacobs,
that good anyways.
But I didn't want He also has Kenny Galladay on the bench and Robbie Anderson, so he has a little bit of depth, and Devontae Parker, maybe a tad bit of depth on his bench. But like, I didn't want, like I said it 2 weeks ago, I don't want anybody on. I'll show everybody the Excel sheet that I had, like, do not draft, and all of these guys are on my do not draft board.
You take away a 50-yard touchdown catch from Robbie Anderson, and he looks weak.
I don't know. It looks like a 14-man league, but it also looks like a team that it's like week 11 or 12. It's at the bottom of the standings, and like he's had like 2 or 3 or 4 injuries, and he's trying to claw his way back. And maybe that's really mean to say, and that probably is, but that's just how I feel about this team.
I love Joe, so I ain't gonna throw shade on him for him to drop one on me when we play, but I don't fuck with his squad that much. He dropped 135, so he ain't gonna be 12. But or however much he dropped last week, 130, whatever it was. But
yeah. So when I look at like teams that I really don't like, I look to see if I could figure out their draft order. Like, okay, so I look at the team. I'm like, okay, so what did he draft? Okay, he drafted Jonathan Taylor first, then Calvin Ridley second, then I guess Josh Jacobs third, then Pat Mahomes fourth, then Kenny Galladay fifth, Debo sixth,
perhaps maybe
Robbie Anderson seventh. That was easier than I thought, but still, maybe it was just fresh in my head, like, and I just look at that shit all the time, so I would know, but.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you look at like, okay, what was your first pick? I know you had the second pick, but like then you look Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen, Chris Carson. Who was fourth? Julio,
and then Gus
the Bus, Justin Herbert. What was I? I was Nick Devontae Adams, Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, Chris Godwin. I don't know. Like, I
just
could
a
go
better
on.
team. Like,
I could go on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Sorry, I'm gonna stop. Joe at 9.
I mean, he dropped 130, whatever he dropped, so I can't throw that much shade on him. But I just think his team isn't.
Joe at 9. Number 10 on the power rankings. Another guy that I really like. I mean, I love all these guys, but another guy that I really liked, and I'm sad to see that his team is as low as it is. Rich at number 10, and I know he's going to be really upset because he takes these rankings to heart. Rich at number 10. Rich, you're trying to run it back, but I think you're walking it back, my G. And I don't know if you're walking it. I don't know if you're going to be walking in wooden shoes, but I have a lot of questions. I'll give you the floor, but I have a lot of questions about this team. Not as much as I do with Joe's, but I have a lot of questions. Go for it.
So the questions for me start with Mixon. I just think ESPN drags it with how high they rank him personally.
Yeah, they love him for no reason.
I was like, yo, like, I mean, he has no offensive line.
He actually is second in the league in rushing right now, and he's cute. He's RB8 overall. So he also
had a dumb week the first week.
Yeah, he did drop 25 the first week, but he's playing. He's at Pittsburgh this week. I mean, we have to see how TJ Watt is because TJ Watt got injured.
Yeah,
but
the hope is that Zeke continues to be more of what he was last week. But I still question Zeke just because I think for whatever reason, like McCarthy doesn't want to run the ball. Maybe he I don't know. Like, I don't know what Zeke did wrong to Mike McCarthy, or Kellen Moore, I guess just to say, but they don't want to run the ball there. Terry's good, and I think Terry's going to be good. He's got Michael Pittman in there now, but we all knew he had the question mark at wide receiver too. Hawk is a baller. Hawk's going to do what he does. DeAndre Swift. I don't like Lions players outside of the TJ Hawkinson, but DeAndre's performed. I think if DeAndre Swift was my flex, I wouldn't be upset. Washington D's got to step it up. Russell Wilson. Yeah, what are you gonna say?
24th ranked defense for a defense that has one of the top 5 front sevens in the league.
Yeah,
it's got to be better. You can't give 30 points up to the Giants.
Yeah, for
at
sure,
home.
for sure, at home on Thursday.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's going to do what he does. I think Zeke can be solid, but I know if you're drafting him or you want him to be better. I'm not a huge fan of Mixon, and we still have more to figure out with Michael Pittman. I don't love his bench either. Like, I think Tim Patrick is cool. I don't know what to expect from Laviska. I think he's either going to start DeAndre or Jamal, so I think it's not really that much of a difference. But I just think he has just a few question marks at like the receiver 2 position and RB2 position in terms of what you want to expect from those guys. I don't think his team's bad. I don't think he's going to be last in the standings. I just think he has some questions that need answers.
I think the crazy thing is that he hasn't had an injury yet. Mm-hmm. And I think he has the worst wide receiver 2 in the league.
Yeah.
By far. He probably has the worst wide receiver 2 in the league.
Or I guess the most unproven.
I mean, should we go down the list of wide receiver 2s?
Sure.
Okay, so let's go down the list. Vinco's wide receiver 2 is CeeDee Lamb. That's much better than Pittman. Ante's is Cooper Kupp. Well, he's wide receiver 1. Mine is Godwin. Well, he has Tom Brady. Josh's is Amari Cooper. Well, he's going to be top 5. Cataldo has Justin Jefferson. You have Julio. Grant has Tyler Lockett. DJ's was kind of rough, but DJ had 3 wide receivers injured, and now his is Chark. So if DJ didn't have injuries, not including Michael Thomas, it would be Jerry Jeudy, which I think is better than Pittman.
It's better than Mike Pittman.
Who's Joe's? Oh, Joe might have a bad one.
I don't know who he has, but Debo.
Debo Samuel. Who was his wide receiver 1? Oh, Calvin Ridley. Debo. Oh, Debo's wide receiver 3. Leads the league in receiving yards.
Debo's better than Pittman.
We go to Keenan. Keenan has Cortland Sutton, AR, DeAndre Hopkins, DJ Moore. All 3 of those guys are better than Pittman.
They're good. Yeah.
Zach. I think Zach has a problem. So
we'll get to him in a
bit. I think I just ruined the rest of the standings. Yeah. Keenan's at 11 and Zach's at 12.
That's all right.
I don't know.
I figured people might have known that already.
I don't know. And then you know what, Rich? I think you're one of my closest friends, and I think you were a top. I think I had this conversation with half the league a couple of weeks ago, and I was thinking best managers overall, just consistent managers. And you were one of the 4 names that I said are just actually genuinely good at fantasy. I have a lot of questions about that Marquez Valdez-Scantlebury thing that you had, decision that you made. I have a lot of questions. Number 1, aren't you a Packers fan? Don't you eat, sleep, and breathe the Green Bay Packers? And if you do, don't you know that dude does not get the ball?
So, with that being said, would you have started Michael Pittman over?
Yeah. I started Marquez Valdez-Scantlebury 2 years ago because Devontae Adams was out and Aaron Rodgers literally threw to nobody. He threw to no names and Aaron Jones. He does not throw to this guy. And when he does, he just completely misses him all the time. This guy's had 2 good games in the last 3 years. And you're a Packers fan. Come on.
I can sort of understand the starting of Scantling when they're playing Detroit.
Not really.
I wouldn't have started Michael Pittman last week.
Maybe Ruggs, Laviska. I would not have started. I would not have started to do this projected 6.6 points. So
I respect them.
The way the game worked last night is they played 2 safeties deep because they were afraid of Devontae Adams, not Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
Right.
But they played 2 safeties deep, and what happened? Okay, fine. You're gonna play two safeties deep. We're just gonna run the ball every play.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
ran the ball every play. And then when they got one-on-ones with Ricky corners, who did they throw it to? Devontae Adams.
Right.
Devontae Adams had a bad first half. He had a much better second half because they dropped two safety. The two safety thing. Like they didn't do it for a couple of plays. But again, I was just like, and he goose egged them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not only that, not only did he get goose egged, he had 45 points on his bench that he could have put in his lineup.
Scroll back up right quick. Let me see the points that he lost by.
He lost by 6.
Yeah. I mean, if he had anyone else in there, he probably would have won that.
Like to lose by 6 and have a guy goose egg you from your own team that you probably should have known wasn't going to get the points.
I respect it.
He was my bad man. He was my worst manager for the week. And but I don't know. I love TJ Hawkinson. He's an ex-Buster, and I love TJ Hawkinson. I didn't know he's not going to get rid of him, but I'd love to have him on my team again. That's all I have to say. Rich at 10.
All right.
Keenan's at 11 this week. Keenan is up 1 from last week. Keenan got bopped by the Busters this week.
Hottie too hottie.
Keenan had the largest margin of loss this week. But that's what happens when you play the Busters. I kid. Take a look at Keenan's team. So he made a trade, but let's take a look at it anyway without the trade. Keenan, you probably should have started James White after Javonte Williams. Javonte Williams had a bad week 1. That's what I would have done. I would have started James White last week. The good news is Keenan left 29.3 points on the bench. So, like, there's potential there. The bad news is, even if he put all those 29.3 points, he still would have lost to the Busters. So,
fuck your shit.
Tell me about this team. tell me about this team.
I'll tell you what. In every mock draft that I did, and I drafted at multiple different positions, the one player that I had do not draft is Saquon.
Me too.
And what I will say is because I expected him to be at that spot, had the draft day trade with Grant and I gone through, I might have taken Saquon at 9, maybe. Just because, that's just you can't pass on him there. But Saquon, until they figure out how to get that man an offensive line, he's really just expected to just blitz through heads, which he can do, but I'm not really trying to see that in fantasy on a regular.
Have you watched any Giants games or red zone of okay? Did you notice the way he runs now?
He runs with a force.
No, but he doesn't look like Saquon from Penn State, and he doesn't look like Saquon from year 1. He looks afraid to run. Like he doesn't trust his offensive line, and he had 2 years ago he was out 6 weeks with a high ankle sprain, and then last year he tore his ACL. Like he looks like he's afraid to use his legs, and he might be 100% physically healthy, but I don't think he's 100% mentally healthy, and it shows from the way he runs, dude. He should be, besides like McCaffrey and Dalvin Cook, he's not even I guess Kamara too. Like this dude is so
very good at football.
He is so good.
And
it's just I don't know. There's something wrong with him.
And New York, for whatever reason, wants to be a throwing team. I can tell.
They suck.
Yeah, they want to throw the ball a lot more. I don't mind Danny Jones. But I don't love Saquon, obviously.
Saquon's not even in the passing game that much anymore. What are we looking at in terms of receptions? He's had 3 catches for 13 yards this year.
Yeah.
23 carries for 83 yards, 3.6 yards a carry. That is not good from Saquon Barkley. That's he's got to be better. But it's
so. If you close your eyes and just hear those numbers, that's a guy you're expecting to draft in 13th round.
Yeah. I mean, I told you before the pod, like, barring any injuries whatsoever, I think Saquon and Zeke are probably going to be the worst um, first round picks. Like, they're going to end up being the worst picks.
I can see that.
That's what I think.
I can totally see that. But on the bright side, he got him at cubes. He got him at QB. Stafford looks comfortable. Stafford looks solid. Stafford looks like he can be in the MVP conversation. He's going to sling that thing. I think he's going to have a field day against Tampa Bay. So shouts out to him with Stafford. I told Dot this myself. I love the Pats. I don't love their backfield and fantasy because I just think Bill just uses, or I guess Josh McDaniels just uses whoever is he's going to be in part of the game plan whenever it's necessary. Hop, it's Hop. Cortland Sutton surprised me last week. He put up some numbers. So, truth be told, Dot and I had a potential trade for Sutton. I turned it down, and Sutton looks like he's going to be the guy until what's his name comes back.
Judy
comes back. Logan Thomas is fine. DJ Moore is the guy in Carolina. So shouts out to him for snagging DJ Moore. I like what he has in terms of what's coming in with Edmonds and Edmonds in terms like I would probably start Edmonds before I start James White. But
I agree. So the thing on the bright side, I look at this team and I take away Allen Robinson, I throw in Mike Evans, and I take away James White, and I'll throw in Chase Edmonds there. On the bright side, this team does have potential. Like, if you look at it right now, like, yeah, it should be much better than it is. And
if Saquon actually performs like a
top pick. I think it's doing much worse than it should. And I think in a few weeks it might be better than it is.
So here's the scariest thing with Dot's team. If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure with every other team that we pulled up thus far this week are projected within the 120s. Yeah. That's projected 115.
116, yeah. Last week he was projected 111.
Right.
The first game of the season, he was only projected like 107.
Yeah, and that's projections, obviously, but like
but I think projections mean something.
Okay.
Again, remember, it's ESPN making these projections. ESPN is telling Keenan, we don't think your team is that good. Whether or not they perform is a different story. Right. Because projections are just projections. But ESPN is telling Keenan, we don't think your team is that good. Last week, I was projected 15 more points than Keenan. That means that ESPN thought my team was a full wide receiver 2 better than his.
Yeah. And at the same amount of guys.
With the same amount of guys. Like, again, projections at the end of the day don't really mean anything. But I'm tracking an achievement spread for a reason. Like, you'll see that it kind of matters. I
said it when I faced Dot week 1. He needs more from Saquon at this point.
Yeah.
He got their series, but he needs more from Saquon.
Yeah, if he gets more from Saquon, then that's good for him. So I don't know. He's at 11 now. I think his team has the potential to be mid-pack. I don't see top 5 right now with the way this team is, but I definitely see mid-pack fighting for a playoff spot at the most right now. Keenan at 11. Last on the list, Zach. You're just not off to a good start. He's still projected. See, the thing is, like, he's still projected 123.8 this week, which is a full 7 points more than Keenan. So
Zach's team's tough.
This team is kind of rough to look at.
Zach's team is tough because, I'll be honest with you, in a lot of my pre-drafts, if I was drafting top 3, I was hoping to get Dalvin and then Edwards-Helaire for the same reason that I made the trade with TJ last year for Chris Carson. I just think that Kansas City is going to be up in a lot of their games, so they're going to run the ball a lot late, but they don't even do that. Not to mention, Big Bro put the ball on the floor in that Ravens game last week when he wasn't even doing that well anyways. So like
For,
Edwards Hilaire is on RB2 is just rough at this point because it's like, what do you do with it? It's not even like he gets the ball a ton late in the game. And then when he does, he puts the ball on the floor.
for for a Kansas City starter,
Yeah,
after 2 weeks to be the 47th in his position.
not good enough.
Tyreek had a bad game. He's the wide receiver 7. Travis
Right.
Kelce's tight end 1. Pat Mahomes is quarterback 2. Their starting running back is running back 47.
Yeah. And they don't run the ball late like how teams do when they're up.
Kenyon Drake is the backup on Vegas, and he's running back 29.
Right.
Devin Singletary is running back 17. Again, it's 2 weeks. But running back 47?
Yeah.
And he's healthy. He's 100% healthy.
He's behind a great offensive line.
And their offensive line, they literally, so they lost the Super Bowl last year. Okay. They went to the Super Bowl and they lost the Super Bowl. And what happened in the Super Bowl? They lost 31-9. They couldn't score a touchdown. And Pat Mahomes was running for his life the whole game. What did they do in the offseason? They literally bought an entire new offensive line. Joe Thuney, one of them, they paid him a big contract. They have an entire, like all 5 of them, all 5 are brand spanking new. Yeah. And this dude gets how many points?
6.
2.6. He has 6.4. Oh, he's averaging 6.4. He
has
2.6. He has 12.8 fantasy points total this season.
Yeah. And what's scary about that is it's not even like you get the goal line touches.
No. Travis Kelce gets him on like slants and dink and dunks and shit like that.
Or what's it called? Gets him on sweeps. Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I gotta feel like James Robinson smashed the owner's daughter or something because they just don't love him. They got no love for him in Jacksonville.
Nah, I mean, yeah, that's his 3rd pick. So his 2nd and 3rd picks are running back 47 and running back 40.
Right. Thielen's been solid. I mean, he's kind of touchdown dependent, but he's scoring touchdowns, so I guess it's not too bad. Tyler Boyd's cool, but I know he wanted Ayuk to be the guy, and
Ayuk has 1.6 points, and he's healthy.
Right. Tyler Boyd's cool. So here's the thing. Dot's obviously got nothing from Saquon. Talk to me about McCaffrey. No, sorry, Kamara. Kamara
is just in a really confusing spot right now. Like we don't know what the Saints are.
He's in a spot where because of the lack of Michael Thomas and whatever, he should be dropping buckets. And he's not.
I don't really know. I haven't really watched Saints games, so I can't really make an opinion on that, but I would be really
weak last week.
I would be really upset if Alvin Kamara got me 7. He probably did get me 7 when I had him once, but
what did we give him? The top running back core on the
oh my God, we did.
And I look at his current running back core, and they got last week. They got less points than Dalvin alone.
Yeah, we gave this team the best running back core in the league, and they got 7 plus 9.6, 9.4. That's 18. That's 19 points total between the 3 of them.
Okay, maybe not less than Dalvin, but like the week before.
Graham Gano, the kicker, got more than that.
That's what I'm saying. And that's your top 3 picks.
You know, Zach's probably crying because he loves the pod as much as anybody, but
I hope he doesn't flame me. Zach, I got love for you, big dog.
And he's on the pod next week, I think. So
yeah, I got love for you, big dog.
I don't know. Lamar's good.
It's okay.
I didn't want Lamar this year.
I don't like Lamar because he can't throw, but it's cool. He'll do what he needs to do. Thielen's going to get in the end zone. Boyd's going to be solid.
I love Thielen.
Yeah. Boyd's be solid. Higbee's going to be cool.
I see. He actually has one of the best benches in our league, though. I will give him that.
Okay.
Like if Brandon Ayuk is good again, like he's got Will Fuller. He's got the most guys that are projected double digits points. Like, and if Ayuk was Ayuk and not Asyuk, he would have all of his guys projected double-digit points.
I will give him a shout out too. He did just lose Jarvis, who was playing pretty well prior to.
Yeah, that is true. He did lose Jarvis.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But like I said, for the team that was projected the best running backs, he has the most questions, I feel like.
Yeah. You want to
Besides
hear?
Grant.
So I'll tell you a couple of funny things. Oh, I think I said that already. So one of the first things I said was he was gonna get like, yeah, he also has, so he's lowest in power rankings. He has the lowest achievement spread at like -49. Those running backs combined for literally nothing. And I actually offered him. Should I expose it?
Go for it.
All right, I'll do it. I offered him a trade last week,
Okay.
and he didn't take it. I offered him Mike Davis and Marquise Brown for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And he said that he was going to roll with him. I know this is not cool to do this.
Over here.
This is my pod. And he'll be on next week. I offered it to him. And but I also talk about when people come to me with trades and I say no and it ends up burning me. So I'm okay with that. And he said no. He said he's going to stick with his guys. And I was like, I respect that. And Mike Davis put up like 13. Marquise Brown is wide receiver 8, and he got 2.5.
Edwards-Helaire got 2.5.
And I texted
on top of a fumble.
I texted him last night or Sunday night or whatever it was. And I was like, I think I'm taking my offer off because I told him. So when I offered the trade, he said no. I said, okay, like the trade I was like, it's the same offer next week.
Sleep on it, right?
Yeah, it's the same offer. I'll give you the same offer next week. So I figured like Edwards-Helaire would have a good game. I was like, same offer next week. He said, okay, sounds good. I texted him Sunday night and I was like, dude, that offer's off the table. I'm sorry. I cannot. I actually checked the app to see if it was still a proposal. Yeah. He might have accepted it before I could take it back. He was like, I don't blame you.
Yeah. It's rough sledding for his running backs for a team that was projected to have the best of them. It's rough sledding as far, but I think it will turn out. Hopefully,
there's one bright spot on his team.
Thielen?
No, Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
There's a couple of guys that could use a quarterback.
Yes. I think our league kind of proved last year that the trading for quarterbacks isn't necessarily that necessary, or people wouldn't do it. But yes, I think there's a couple guys who could use a quarterback that might reach out.
And there's a couple of guys that need quarterbacks that have 4 wide receivers, and you can only start 3 of them.
That is true.
I don't know. If you're Ante, or if you're Josh, you wouldn't do Jalen Hurts and Will Fuller for Juju, or Jalen Hurts and Will Fuller for I don't know who Josh's 4th wide receiver is anymore. Or whatever. Say if it was still Mike Evans, you wouldn't do Jalen Hurts and Will Fuller for Mike Evans. Something like that. That's not
if
a bad
Zach, I wouldn't do it.
If you're Zach, you wouldn't do that? That's giving up too much.
I want to see, it's giving up too much. I want to see what Will Fuller does first.
I guess so.
Because Will Fuller could end up being a guy.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That is true. Well, I don't know. Maybe Mike Williams instead. I don't know. Whatever. It is what it is. But I would move Jalen Hurts. That's
sure. Because you drafted Lamar that high. You're gonna play him.
Yeah. And this kid's gonna be like a mini Lamar, and you need somebody to start. You might as well get some use out of them. You're not gonna start both of them.
For sure.
Zach at 12. Power rankings this week. Vinco, Ante, Marco, Josh, Chris Cataldo, Chris Scantleberry, Grant, DJ, Joe, Rich, Keenan, Zach. We'll see what happens next week. Couple of things left to do. You want to do your matchups first, or do you want to do your best, worst, and dark horse managers?
Let's do best, worst, dark.
Best manager.
I'll give you the best manager at this point, brother.
My face is gonna. My face is. Did you look at the PowerPoint today?
No, not yet.
Take a look at the PowerPoint and you'll see why I'm smiling. Actually, take a look at it right now. You see why I'm smiling. Okay.
Yeah.
Why am I the best manager?
I mean, your team put out 145 and shit like that.
Flatter me.
You know, your team put out 145. You got dumb balance. We bouncing back based on what we have set up thus far.
I mean, if I wasn't on the podcast, or I wasn't the owner of my podcast, or I wasn't the owner of my team, and I was just outside looking in, like I said, I think my team would be the best team so far, or one of the top three.
For sure. I think one, your team is solid, and two,
I haven't done anything to implode it yet.
Yeah, you have not done anything to implode it. 2 and 3, and most importantly, there's no reason to believe that your team's gonna based on who you have.
Yeah. My team, and I haven't had, so I'm leading the league, and the thing that I like the most about my team is that I'm leading the league in scoring by like 30 points, and I do not have a team of the week appearance.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I scored,
only gonna get better. I feel like
I scored 145 back-to-back weeks, and I do not have a team of the week appearance. Yeah. That means that the team is like everybody's putting in their work, and I didn't have
guys.
Yeah, and I didn't have anybody drop a 40 bomb or anything like that, which is why I scored so high, stuff like that. So that's why I like where we're at right now. I would like to get on team of the week, but wouldn't hurt. Worst manager.
I'm not gonna give it to Rich. I get why he went with Scantling. I don't want to bag on my guy that much more, but I gotta give it to Zach. He drafted 3 running backs. He projected best running backs, and they all shot the bed. So Zach.
Zach is the worst. Okay, dark horse manager.
I like DJ. It's honestly out of just intrigue. I want to see what he does with the injuries that he has.
Me too.
At wide receiver, but I expect him to do something. So I'll give him dark horse. See what he does with it.
Did you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah, I didn't. What were you sending me before? What you
the best, worst, and dark horse manager. Did you see I added that?
Oh, to the PowerPoint. Oh shoot! I didn't know if I don't think I saw it. I just
that's why I smiled when you made me the best manager, because now I got to put my portrait up on there.
Okay, bet. I'm gonna keep it.
You see that?
I'm keeping it on my phone.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Matchups. Pick 'em 6 matchups.
What's that?
Chris, not you. Vinko went 3 for 6. He got my matchup wrong on the podcast. Like, I was favored to win heavily, and he picked Keenan over me, and whatever. So he's a loser.
Yeah.
So this is a good matchup, though. I gotta stop sharing. What am I doing? We don't want to see Zach's team anymore.
Keeping Zach's team for a grip.
Yeah, we don't want to see that anymore. We'll go back
to
the
matchups. Okay,
back to the fire. Me versus Cataldo.
Ooh.
That's a good matchup. That's gonna be a bloodbath.
It's a matchup of the geysers. Let me see.
Shout out to Cataldo, by the way. While you're doing that, shout out to Cataldo. He hit me up last night and told me that my guys are dogs and he liked my team. So shout out to my G. For giving me love.
I will say.
Maybe he was sweetening me up. Maybe he was like sweet talking me before he was gonna do me dirty this week.
I was gonna say we're not here for the love when we about to face the other guys. So I'm gonna give you the dub here.
Oh wow, let's go. That would be great. Finko versus Keenan.
Think Diesel.
Well, Keenan would be
at least until Keenan kind of figures out.
Yeah, Keenan would be 0-3 and in panic mode. Ante versus Zach, another 2-0 versus 0-2 matchup.
My guy Ante, my road dog.
So we got 2 teams going 3-0, 2 teams going 0-3.
Shout out to the Twins.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks they suck at fantasy and they don't watch football, which I'm not going to say they suck at fantasy because they don't, but I will say they do not watch as much football as the next guy. But they know what they're doing, so.
For sure.
Josh versus Rich. That's a decent matchup.
Yeah, it is.
It's a decent matchup of managers. I don't know about teams right now, but it's a decent manager matchup.
Yeah.
Like if they were both head coaches, that would be an interesting game to watch.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
they're not.
yeah.
They're fantasy managers.
100%. 100%. So I like Josh's matchups from player by player more than I like Rich's. So I'm
You're-
gonna go with Josh and then nail biter.
Yourself versus DJ.
I don't know. I'm not gonna come on here and pick myself to get flamed the week after, even though I like my matchups. DJ gonna win this by a lot, by a landslide.
Wow. Okay, so if you go 5 for 6, hopefully that's the only one you get wrong.
Hopefully.
I don't know. If I was a guest on the pod, I would pick myself every time. Like, screw that shit. Like, I'm picking myself. I'm on the pod. I get to talk my shit. That's it. Like, it's my week, my episode.
Yeah.
Me all the way. Me by 1,000. By a million.
I'm telling you,
Mercy rule.
Dumbos is going under the radar. This is where he performed.
Grant versus Joe. Oh, this is a matchup we this is a matchup that would have given everybody headaches.
I guess I couldn't necessarily come out here and flame Joe's team as much as I did and pick him. So I gotta go Grant.
I think you picked all favorites. I mean, I think me and Cataldo are pretty even, but other than that, I think you picked all favorites. So
I think I'm favored to win in DJ's matchup, but
I'm not favored to win. I think Cataldo is up by like 1 point on me.
Yeah,
it's probably even the line. They actually have lines on this thing. Did you know that?
I peeped.
What's the line for me and what's his face?
Take a quick look at the line for me and DJ.
Scoreboard. Week 3. Oh, where does it say it? It only says it on the app. It doesn't say it on the.
I'm on the website.
Box score.
I just hit scoreboard.
Do you see lines?
Yeah, the line for yours, you're plus 1.2.
Oh, you just have to. Oh yeah, I see it. The line, yeah. Well, if you like click on the matchup, they give you the line. Yeah, I'm plus 1.2. I would eat the points and take me money line. Yeah.
Peep the line for DJ and I.
It's probably. Let me see this. Oh wow!
Eek.
Holy smokes!
Eek.
Yeah,
this
it's
even.
Be a fun one. Yeah, it's even.
That's Tango, DJ.
You're at minus 0.1.
Yeah, let's dance, baby.
124.3, 124.4. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Is there anything else that we do on this pod? I don't really remember.
Nah. Maybe a bold prediction.
Go for it. You have one?
my one last year was kind of hard. Where I said Devontae didn't make a trade, wouldn't have a win.
Well, he made a trade and he won, so.
Yeah, so my bold prediction this year is there's no shot that Zach keeps all 3 of his running backs. I honestly think he might move 2 of them. I think Kamara is going to be the only running back that's left on this team by the end of the year. And I guess it's not that bold, but it's kind of bold just because Zach doesn't make a lot of trades.
I don't know. At that point, like, how's he going to get rid of him?
You got to do it fast. You got to do it right after this week.
That's what I would do. Yeah. All right. Bold prediction for me about your team is I think you'll be in the semifinals at least.
Oh, sick.
Very least, you'll be in the semis. Oh, it'll be your first. Oh, look at us. The only 2 guys that haven't made the playoff. My bold prediction is we both make the playoffs for the first time.
Talk your shit.
Yeah, this is my bold prediction. Me and you are both making the playoffs this season.
Look at us.
It's gonna be new phases. Yeah, we're gonna be like the Paul Rudd. We're like the Paul Rudd. Look at us.
Who'd have thought? Not me.
Not me.
I'm excited. Hopefully that comes true.
Me too.
Sure.
All right, everybody. Great pod today, Chris. Thanks for coming on. We crushed it as always.
Indeed.
From Albuquerque, New Mexico. Time to say goodnight. For show. Till next time. Ciao, ciao.